Good afternoon from Athens, from Kypseli. We're really excited to have Leila and Rich here with us today. We were just discussing about volunteering in Greece and elsewhere and what an impact it can make to help just one or two people. So we want to invite you to discuss your time that you've spent in Greece, the people that you've helped, and just get a little bit of background. So,
sure.
Welcome.
Thank you. We'll start with introducing ourselves.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So I'm Leila. I am 45, and we're both from London, in the UK, and I work in digital advertising as my day job, and I am married to Rich,
who is older than his wife. Not getting any more than that.
You don't look it.
Thank you. I'm not sure about that. Also from London. Introduced to Kyra and the whole notion of volunteering by Leila, who she'll tell you the story way better than I can. But she was the inspiration for me, kind of getting involved in this community, in this positive movement that we've kind of found ourselves in.
And we have 3 children between us. We're a blended family, so we've got 2 adult children now. A son who is 23, just turned 23, and a daughter who is 21, and then another daughter who is nearly 13. So we have a fairly busy home life, and we started volunteering. I came first on my own in 2014, back when we weren't married. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend just at the time. And my daughter was 2 at the time. And the reason that I started volunteering was because Aylan's body washed up on a beach, and it was the same age as my daughter at the time, and it was just very impactful. Seeing all those pictures in the newspapers, and I just remember thinking, why is no one doing anything? And then I realised I'm someone and I can do something. So I just booked a flight to Lesbos. I knew nothing and no one, and I just went to. And the reason I picked Lesbos was because you could get a direct flight from London direct to the island,
And you were aware that was an island that was...
I was aware that was a Greek island where there was a lot of refugees. That would be their first point of landing past Turkey. They would come to the islands first because that's where the boats kind of took them. And so when I got to Lesbos, I literally just started asking around and making contacts, and I ended up staying I was only there for a short period. It was kind of like a fact-finding, trying to understand the situation type mission. But I made contacts, and then I went back a couple more times, again on my own. One was for a 2-week stretch, and I did everything from hanging out with teenagers in a teenagers unaccompanied minors camp, just kind of, keeping them company and sort of, trying to have a laugh with them really, to being on the shores, helping boats come in, helping to get people off boats and get them warm clothes and warm tea, to clothing distributions, food distributions, outreach, taking people to hospital for appointments and things, all kinds of things. And then I think maybe my 4th trip, you decided to come with me. Mm-hmm. And then since then, we've volunteered as like a dynamic duo. Yeah. Because we have different skills. When I first started volunteering, I couldn't even drive. I can now. I was quite old when I learnt to drive, but you are a brilliant driver, and so we often hire a van or a car, and that would be your
it'd be
like
almost like a taxi service from the camps that I've been working at, kind of are in Chios, and it's several miles from the nearest town. Obviously, people need to go to appointments, and whether it be doctors or some kind of admin or legal appointments. So I ended up, a lot of my job was kind of being a taxi service, I guess, for anyone that was going to and from town, because it was they weren't supported in that way, so they'd have to walk for hours to get to a legal appointment. Appointments they could never miss or reschedule. They had no control over. So it was important they got there, so I'd end up being kind of a bit of a cab driver, I guess. And also worked doing logistics around like distribution. So we would find a space outside camp, we weren't allowed inside often. Sometimes we were, but often not. And then we'd do like food, toiletries, clothing distributions, etc. So that's kind of the core part of my kind of volunteer experience, I guess, where it started off in kiosks doing those kind of things.
And we've always volunteered as independents, but we will sync up with other organisations, with NGOs, and so we've worked with a couple of different groups over the years, haven't we? But we tend to stay as independents, and I think that's because we can only dip in and out because of our home lives, our jobs, our kids, etc. It's quite difficult to dedicate as much time as we want to it, which we will do in the future when our youngest is older, but until then it doesn't seem fair to the people that we meet if we are not consistent with being available, but we still can make a difference with the days and the weeks that we do spend in Greece. I once heard someone say, you can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone, and I think that's really powerful.
Yeah,
and I think
we've kind of lived by that to a certain extent, and we keep repeating the same thing to people we meet and we discuss. It's just that if everyone does a small thing, something small, if everyone did it or more people did it, we could make such a big impact. Because I know obviously life gets in the way for a lot of people. They have kids, jobs, etc. So it's hard to give up those things sometimes. But you know, if everyone just chips in a weekend here, a week there, if enough people do it, we can actually make a dent in what is still kind of an ongoing crisis across Greece and beyond.
So I find it really wonderful that you've also met some people here in Greece and you've been really impactful in their lives. You've just been very supportive and just offered friendship, really. I think one of the biggest things that people don't realize is your presence is the most important thing you can offer a human being in need. And so tell us a little bit about that, the people that you've been able to meet and stayed in touch with.
That's interesting, because when I very first started looking at trying to come over here and try and make a bit of a difference, I actually said to my mum, like, I have no skills. I can't even sew very well. I've got no first aid skills, even though I've done 3 first aid courses, the information never sticks. At the time I couldn't drive, so I was like, what am I actually going to do? And she just said, if you can just make some people smile, you're making a difference. And I think that's so true and so important. And like you say, the offering of friendship, of seeing someone really helps.
Like you my experience, you'd kind of reach out to shake someone's hand, and they'd just start handing their documents over because it's been rinsed and repeated, and they keep getting asked to see their documents. And when you kind of say, no documents, I just want to shake your hand and say hi and smile at you, the look on their face is kind of a look of, joy that someone's, just trying to kind of show a bit of love or show a bit of friendship. And those small things are just really impactful. And
we've met people from all over the world and made friendships, forged friendships that will last a lifetime. Couple of shout outs for Ahmed, who is Syrian and lives in Greece now, obviously works alongside you for Love Without Borders, who is an amazing human who makes us laugh all the time, and we love him to pieces. Abdulillah, who is our brother from another mother, who's also Syrian. We recently had a wedding anniversary party, and he's just got his kind of documentation to like citizenship in the Netherlands. So it's the first time he's been able to travel to the UK. So he was the guest of honour. He was the guest of honour at our wedding party in London, which was amazing. And he did a small speech, and we've known him probably from our first. We met him in, I'm going to say 2016 or 17 at Ori Castro camp in Thessaloniki, and we've been firm friends with him ever since. And he actually works in the same industry as me now, because he got an internship at the company that I worked at and worked his way up. I don't work at that company anymore, but he's still at the same company based in Amsterdam, doing really, really well for himself. And it's just so great to have those friendships and see people really flourish. I think all people want is to feel safe and be seen. That's really all people need.
We've been lucky enough to be doing this for a while now, and because of that we've seen obviously we've had kind of touch points with people as they arrive, and you don't always get to follow their journey and where they get to, and the successes that and the impact they can make on their local community. But with because we've been doing this for a while, we've seen people kind of flourish and blossom from what is often very distressing kind of backgrounds and histories, and then and the kind of impact and they can make on society, community, professionally is a really beautiful thing to see, and luckily we've been able to see that several times.
We should also mention Moody.
Oh yeah.
Moody is our Somali Saudi, or he would say Saudi Somali.
He would probably say
another brother from another mother, who is now based here, and he now works as a coordinator and translator. So he has been able to take his experiences and immediately pay it back into the overall system and help others, which is just a beautiful thing, And often when we go on volunteer missions to the islands, it will be a huge crew of people all working together. Some of them will be volunteers, some of them will be like short term, I would call it, maybe volunteers like ourselves who sort of dip in and out a bit more. Some would be long term volunteers who maybe live semi-permanently on the island, and then a lot of the people that we work alongside are refugees from the refugee camps, looking to have a purpose and be involved and help them their own community and each other.
Yeah, and often the refugee, even when they've moved on, they might have moved to different countries and they've started, again getting jobs, starting lives outside of the kind of refugee community. They jump back in.
Yeah, Abdulil has been back to Chios twice with us to volunteer since moving to the Netherlands and getting all of his documentation in order. So, it's beautiful.
Very nice. The thing I love about you two is every time you come to Athens, I have so much going on all the time, and you just spring into action. And it's just so nice because I'm 100% confident, even if I'm not here, that you can take over.
That's good to hear.
Yes, I need more people like you. But yes, I think it's really important for our network and our community to know that just being there for one person, like this week, there was just one very vulnerable woman, and when you arrived in Athens, you just took over and just made her feel safe and supported. And sometimes it is just a short amount of time for one person, but it's really important that everybody knows that time is very, very important. And instead of doing nothing, you can do something small to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. We often talk about which one is of most value. Is it to help a lot of people just a little bit, or one person a lot? And we never come up with the answer, because they're both very valid and needed, and ideally we would help lots of people loads. Sometimes that's not possible, but even if you just make a tiny impact or difference with someone, it really, and that can carry them through dark, traumatic times. Just knowing that someone somewhere in the world cares and sees them can really actually elevate that person, to give them a bit more energy, a bit more hope to get through the next bit and the next bit, because it is an incredibly trepid and troublesome experience being a refugee. And I think particularly right now in Greece, when it's been going on for so long, there is a lot of apathy you feel the apathy when you're walking around.
And the system seems to be purposefully designed to make it difficult now, whereas before it's maybe slightly more sympathetic. It doesn't feel that way anymore.
Yeah. And the amount of people that we know that are Syrian former refugees that have settled elsewhere, they do want to go home. Of course they do. They want to go back to their beloved homeland. I'm sure not all of them will, but some will. So it's really important to differentiate and mind the language that we use, and make sure that we are framing and naming things correctly, because to just believe in this rhetoric that people, they'll just come over and use the system, use and abuse the system to get a job or leave their country and go, seek a better life. Me personally, I think, well, first of all, if I was from a very war-torn, troubled country, even if I didn't need to leave as a refugee, maybe I would still want to leave anyway, because I would want to seek a fortune, a better life for myself and my family. Second of all, majority of the time, you don't leave that country, you don't leave your homeland unless you absolutely have to. That, you know, that poem, nobody puts their child in the water unless it's safer than the land. That kind of, you know, paints the picture there.
Yes, there's a lot of things to discuss today. We also have a quick question about your children. What do they think about you volunteering?
Well, our daughter came with us,
yeah,
didn't she?
the middle one came with us to
when
Chios.
she was 15,
I think she was 15.
14, 15.
Just wanted her to experience, you know, and meet people from different cultures and different communities, and just kind of get more of a feel for it.
Yeah.
I think they're proud of us for what we do. I hope so, to a certain extent. And we'd like to get them more involved as we kind of move forward. The youngest is certainly very keen, but she's 12, so maybe
we think soon, because
young.
there is another organisation that we will be volunteering with in the future in the islands, and they do have programmes where you can bring your children. They've worked with families that bring their 12 and plus years old children with them, so we're thinking about taking her with us. We'll probably do one trip with them, one mission with them, and kind of, you know, sound it out, and then if we think she'll get value from it and be safe, then we'll take her with us. But I think, you know, compassion breeds compassion, so it's really important that our kids, even if they don't choose to do this themselves, just seeing that we do this and knowing that this is an important factor in being a human and being a decent human, a way to live, you know, it's really, really important.
And Abdullah, who we mentioned before, who now lives in Amsterdam, is friends with both. He comes on holiday with us sometimes, so our kids know him really well, and they're all friends together, so it's a beautiful thing.
That's amazing. So important to make that connection.
Mm.
How do you feel today, since you're leaving back to the UK? Is it a little painful, or?
Well, every time we come, we leave a little bit of our heart here with someone and something, don't we? It can be really hard, and also it can be a bit sort of mentally jarring, where you sort of go back to your you know, quote unquote real life with all of our trappings of comfort, and it's a bit discombobulating, you know, then realising how other people have to live.
Yeah, you might be commuting and the train's cancelled and you're like apoplectic about it, and then, you know, you got to pull yourself back into reality that these are just teeny weeny problems in the scope of things, and there are people that have got far more challenges to deal with. So it can be strange and a bit unsettling, kind of leaving.
But it really enables you to foster an attitude of gratitude, because I think, you know, that's definitely something that we take from this, is that we are so grateful for our own lives and our own the way that we are enabled and allowed to live, for having a roof over our heads, food in the fridge and in our bellies, and money in the bank. You know, we're so fortunate, and we never ever take that for granted, and we do genuinely wake up every day and one of us will say at some point during the day, we're so lucky, you know, and we've learnt that.
Well, we'd like to thank you so much for this week that you spent here. It was very impactful, and we're forever grateful for your friendships and from our community, from especially the people that you were here for this week. A huge thank you and lots of love.
Thanks, Cara. And just to say from our side, thank you for everything that you do. You and Ahmed, absolute superstars, and you help so many people.
And you not only do you supporting so many people in the refugee community, but you also support ignorant volunteers like us who don't have a clue what we're doing and just need to be given direction and guidance. So thank you for that. Thank you for guiding us on so many of our missions over here. We really appreciate it.
And giving us the chance to get involved.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for you, the opportunities for us to help would be far fewer, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.